Hello, how's it going? Today, we're talking about the expansion of Azeroth, the Council of Tirisfal, and the First Guardian. We're about 2,700 years before the Dark Portal now, so you ready? Let's go! After King Thoradin's reign, many of the first human magi had taught others the ways of the arcane, so the number of humans that could use magic had increased a lot. These powerful magi would provide protection, allowing people to venture out and build even more settlements, which is nice of them. The most coveted land was Tirisfal Glades. The humans established a stronghold to protect their farmland from gnolls, kobolds, and other dangerous and stupid wildlife. Many former soldiers settled in this region, which they renamed Lordaeron in honour of the fallen general, Lordaeron. Other humans ventured to a coastal region known as Gilneas. They built some harbours and fished the waters, trading with other parts of Azeroth. The braver sailors explored the open seas around Gilneas, discovering a large island to the south that was rich with metal ores and other valuable resources. Some of the sailors stayed on this island, founding a mighty outpost named Kul Tiras. Another outpost of note was Dalaran. Dalaran was a trading centre of great import and influence. Many citizens of Azeroth had flocked to the city in a quest for wealth and opportunity. An eccentric mage named Ardagan had been one of these immigrants, and had won the admiration of Dalaran's populace and been elected as its ruler. Over time, these new cities continued to grow and develop their own customs, and the ruling powers of Strom were getting ever so slightly concerned. They feared that these cities would become too independent. But, despite their best efforts to retain control over the kingdom, many cities did eventually gain more autonomy. Ardagan in particular had transformed Dalaran into a much-needed haven for Azeroth's magi, because the people of Azeroth were increasingly starting to get a bit paranoid. Tensions obviously grew over this. Magic users had been a massive reason as to why and how Azeroth had been able to expand so much in the first place, and now everyone's all like, ew, magic. Ardagan invited many of the disgruntled magi to his city and proclaimed that they could live there, free of prejudice. So many of them did, deciding to remake Dalaran into a glorious centre of knowledge. Ardagan and some of the most powerful mages formed a magocracy to govern the city, and they encouraged the study and practice of arcane arts. Dalaran was a symbol of hope and freedom to magi across Azeroth, and so its population exploded. It was bloody lovely. But do you remember what happened the last time people used magic so much? It didn't go so well. Bloody idiots. The lot of them. The magi of Dalaran were completely oblivious to the waves of arcane energy billowing out from their city and into the twisting nether, and a small number of demons within the nether were all like, what was all that about? Although weak and alone, this small number of demons slipped into the physical world, infiltrated Dalaran, and managed to sow a bit of chaos. The magocracy struggled to figure out what to do about this demonic intrusion, but they decided it was best to keep it secret. The people of Azeroth were already not big fans of magic users. If they learned the truth, they would probably panic, and maybe also riot. So they reached out to the High Elves of Kel'Thalas, hoping they would know what to do. The Council of Silvermoon immediately dispatched their greatest magi to investigate. They determined that only a small number of demons had crossed into the physical world, but this was only the beginning. Humans needed to place limits on their use of magic. But the leaders of Dalaran were like, nah. They knew that if they restricted magic use, best case scenario was that people would just go elsewhere to practice arcane arts, and worst case scenario, Dalaran's economy would collapse. So the Council of Silvermoon and the magocracy decided on a different solution. Together, they formed a new order. They'd have little secret brain trust meetings in Tirisfal Glades. This Council of Tirisfal would track down and banish the Legion's agents wherever they might be found across the land, and would also quietly educate other mages about the dangers of reckless spell weaving. For decades, the Council of Tirisfal discreetly did this work. When facing extraordinarily powerful foes, they'd channel their abilities into a single person for a short time. This was only done in rare and dire circumstances. The ritual itself was dangerous. The champion receiving the power could be destroyed by the influx of energy, and the council members needed to be in close proximity, which left them vulnerable as well. However, they successfully used this ritual on multiple occasions. But then terrible plagues gripped Dalaran, and a veil of paranoia enveloped the city. The Council of Tirisfal discovered and confronted the culprit, a dreadlord named Natia. They quickly found themselves outmatched by the demon. With no other choice, they empowered a high elf named Earton Brighthand. He threw himself at Natia, wielding the council's combined might. But rather than face the champion directly, the demon struck out at the Order's members, and they were like, oh, bugger tubs. They were unable to defend themselves, and the connection between themselves and Earton was disrupted. Weakened, the champion fell to the demon. Only a desperate intervention from a young half-elf named Aladai spared the council from total annihilation. The council then tried to rally for another battle, but this time as individual magi with no champion. Natia revelled in the council's disarray, easily thwarting them again. The Council of Tirisfal's confidence and hope was shattered. They had no bloody idea what to do. In this dark moment, Aladai and his allies discovered a potential solution. Through a complex ritual, the Council could permanently grant an individual some of their power. Aladai himself was the first to undergo this technique. When the ritual proved successful, he declared himself not the Council's champion, but its guardian. Aladai faced and struck down Natia. banishing the Dreadlord back to the Twisting Nether. Hailed as a hero, he served as the first Guardian of Tirisfal. He used his new power to extend his life, and then spent the next 100 years hunting down the Legion's minions. At the end of this century of service, he voluntarily gave up his power. This began the tradition of the Guardian. Every 100 years, a new mage would arise to dedicate his or her life to safeguarding Azeroth. And this will go wrong at some point in the future. And we're leaving it there! So there you go, a bit of human history. Obviously we'll be talking some more about humans soon, but in the next video, we're going to move on to Ironforge and the awakening of the dwarfs. And we might be able to squeeze in the Gurabashi Civil War as well. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribed and come back on Friday. If you enjoyed this video, press the like button, talk to me in the comments, and all that's left to say is, thanks very much for watching, and see ya!